All right, I realized I didn't have a whole lot of video of the boat, so I guess I'll kind of do that now. You can't really see back in there, but there's the main circuit panel is back here in the back. Okay, so just to orient, when you come in through the companionway to the port side, you have a sink, and there's 2 drawers here. This one I keep some dishes in. And having not been on the boat yet, and here's some Ziploc bags and stuff. Having not been on the boat yet, I'm not sure if I'm going to leave this arrangement exactly how it is. You've got a stereo, car stereo, cheap piece of junk I'll be replacing eventually, maybe not this season because I have some far more pressing and expensive issues. Little 12-volt power port there with an on-off switch, and then there's your AC main. Can't really see it that well, but this is all on the little bulkhead behind the sink. Of course, here's this ice box that everyone talks about, and let me just show that in case folks haven't seen it before. I mean, you can see pictures of this stuff pretty much anywhere, but so this comes off. There's an ice box here. There's a little drain hole there, so as the ice melts, it goes through a through hull, I believe, and of course the lid is supposed to be insulated. They've got some kind of duct tape contraption going on here, don't know why. That typically by me will be used as a bread and potato chip slash Doritos kind of place. Stuff that could get crushed if it's stored somewhere else. That's where I'll keep it. It makes a great little bread box. Of course, you've got a little shelf here above the galley area. Again, storage, not really sure what I'm going to keep there. Got my coffee cups back here. This area, of course, is a cutting board, and then underneath that is a stove. Now, this used to have the classic curtain burner pressurized alcohol that sat in here on a gimbaled mount, and I took the gimbaled mount out. I'm going to try and figure a way to adapt it to my Origo 3000 non-pressurized alcohol stove. I just prefer the Origo. It doesn't have the same issues that the pressurized stoves have. They're just reliable and they work, and I really like it. I brought that over from my other boat. 2 more drawers for storage. Got all our utensils and stuff in this one, knives and things. And then this, I guess, isn't a drawer. This is a door, and that underneath there is a little bit of space, but it's mostly just electrical wiring and lines like power and possibly some kind of water lines and stuff under there. There's the battery selector switch. To me, it looks like it's mounted upside down, and you can see access to the wires there. Here's a voltmeter that is not working. I don't know what that switch is for. We'll have to figure that out. Anyway, behind this settee, there's a little storage shelf there. Works nice for our abundance of sunscreen and bug spray. We've got some curtains here on the windows. Not sure I really like them very much. They're pretty tight. You gotta pull them across, and then they barely cover the windows, as you can see. I like the idea, but I don't like the implementation of these. I may work on trying to do something different there eventually. Of course, the port settee, you have storage underneath. This is where my currently single battery is located, and that's a lead acid battery, not an AGM or anything like that. I do have a 200 amp hour lithium phosphate that I'm going to put in there. Decent amount of storage here. You can see it's dirty. It's been wet in here. There's been water in the boat at some point. A battery charger running. And then, you know, you've got a generously sized dinette here. This is called the L dinette because of the shape. Most of your dinettes were two opposing seats. You had this seat here and then another seat that ran this way, and of course the table would sit here in the middle of them. But in the older boats, which this is a 1980, you had this option, and I really like this option. The table slides, drops down, turns into a, this turns into a bed, albeit a bit short, but it's got some decent width, so a teenager will fit okay there, or maybe two small kids. Works out well. Under this part of the dinette seating, this cushion out of here, this is where all of the plumbing for the marine head is at. Of course, you got some stuff there. Getting a tiny little bit of water into the boat in this area. I don't know where that's coming from. There has been some condensation on the tarp that I've got over the top of it, so we may be getting a bit of condensation into the boat, or it may just be trickling in from areas that I was not able to find and dry before I put it away for the winter. Okay, there's the marine head. Believe it works the same as any. You've got this pump here for pumping it into the holding tank, and then this lever here, of course, says pump dry and then flush. So if you wanted to flush it, you would flip this lever up, and then I don't know what the pump dry means, but anyway, I don't have a place where I can use this system because there's no pump out on the lake I sail on. So we won't be using that. I'm strongly debating removing it and putting a porta potty, just a cassette toilet in here. Okay, back here in the V-berth, we have a light. Of course, I have slept in here a couple of times just because I love my boat and I want to sleep on my boat from time to time. Yeah, I know it's a bit weird, but a little storage cubby there. Again, there is storage underneath in the forward part of the V-berth here. You can see there's a storage hatch there, but don't even remember what's under there. I think it's just an empty space at the moment. And then this is the starboard side in the, quote, bathroom area. There's your freshwater fill hose, which is all black and mildewed, so that's not going to get used for much of anything. And then many boats, I'm trying to step out of the light here, many boats right here will have a, what do you call it? A sink. There'll be a counter space here with a small sink and everything, and I don't see any evidence of any through holes down here. Of course, there's this little door that flips down that allows you to access that area, but there's nothing really in there. So my thinking is bringing this all the way up, possibly level with this window, and then putting drawers in here for storage possibly, or maybe putting cabinet doors. I don't like the idea of a hanging locker because when I'm on the boat, I'm not hanging up clothes, but some people put a hanging locker in there. In fact, there was one there when I bought the boat that had been installed by a previous owner, and I removed it. It was just a bar that was attached right here, and you could hang clothing in this space, but I guess it's a decent idea, but that's not the way that I will use the boat. Of course, on this side, this is where I'm storing all my junk currently, sails, and I got a lot of my hardware and stuff because I've been doing some work on the boat here and there. Underneath this side, there's also storage similar to what you saw on the other side. And of course, the storage shelf in the back that goes back. Over here, this cushion is out of the quarter berth. Well, I have plans to install a refrigerator on the quarter berth. I've got a small fridge here. But what I'm thinking is I don't want to set it directly on the cushion and have it sitting there for years and leave permanent impressions in the cushion for possibility that I may change the configuration later. But at the same time, I don't want to cut the cushion and have it cut back unless then I just fold the cushion material underneath and slide the cushion back in there. And that usable space, let's see if I can get this light to come on. There is usable space in the quarter berth back there. My 14-year-old daughter would fit perfectly in there, and in fact I think she prefers this little cubby to sleep in. So I may cut the you know, this much of that cushion away and then fold the material under, and so that cushion can go back in there. There's our visiting neighbor cat, likes to come and hang out with me in the boat when I'm in here. Again, storage underneath there. I've got a little 10-inch subwoofer there I'm trying to figure out how to install so the sound system sounds better. Here underneath my steps, you can see that I have a winch for the keel cable. It is not the correct winch. It's going to be fairly expensive to get the correct winch. I did not notice that when I bought the boat, but it's about 350 bucks for a winch. Anyway, so that's the boat. Oh, I got a bilge cover there, and there's no cover on this side, which I thought is interesting, but there's a bilge pump, automatic bilge pump there in the bottom that does work. I have checked that and all. So this is the pop top model. So you undo these little fasteners here, and then the pop hinges up on these little struts, and it gives you a few more inches of head space. I'm 5'8", and I am standing in the center, and you can see, maybe if I've got the camera right, I have to kind of tip my head a little bit. It looks like there's about 5'4" or 5'5" inches of head space in here in the middle. Anyway, that's my boat. Got a lot of plans for it, and hoping it, just dying to get it on the water. You know, haven't been able to put it on the water yet, so I'm sure I'll find a whole bunch more projects once I get it wet.